companies want to create this change, it's not always an easy thing to get going, to start. So, Dominique, I think this is more in your sort of area here. How do companies know that they're actually ready they're in a position to even start a transformation?
That's a great question.
It's one thing to say we're ready, but
Yes.
how do we know if we're actually?
And that's the $1 million question. And because most people think they're ready, or they are ready to do it, but to get to the point where you are actually willing to change, and I don't know, I can't remember who said it. Was I've been wanting to lose weight for a while, but committing to doing it.
That was me.
Yeah, that was you.
That was me.
Committing to doing it, so it's that commitment. So there are tools, there are assessments that can be done to see where your team is, where the organization is, and how it is ready to do it.
I think it comes down to just always remembering, and most of you know this, it's not rocket science. It's behavioral change models are still as true today as they were 50 years ago. Whether you're an individual, a dyad, your partner, if any of you have raised teenagers, and also in organizations. Change does not come about because I've made a cognitive decision to change. There's very simple stages. It's the cognition, the understanding of what to do. Then there's that whole attitude, motivation, willing, the isms, the unconscious attachment to the old, attachment to habit, which many of us are not aware of. All right, and that's not necessarily to blame people for being stuck with change. It's just we don't know. Then you try to change. Do I know how to change? Then you maintain it. But the pullback is very strong, and this occurs in organizations. It occurs for individuals. It occurs for your partner, who is always wrong, by the way, in my case, because they're just wrong. So I think some of us have to step back and look at behavioral change models and remind that change doesn't come about because I've said it or because I've verbally articulated it. It comes about over time. It comes about with the right support. But a lot of it comes about even recognizing what are my underlying fears, doubts, concerns that may have real value in order to facilitate it. But it rarely comes about because we've made a decision to change. Does that just verbally?
If I can just, you can see too. Once again, I'm going to deviate from the question slightly. But if you look at behavior change as a breakdown of three things: knowledge, motivation, and capability. You guys definitely know academic models much better than I do, but in my kind of street sense, it's do I know what to do? Do I want to do it? And am I able to do it? And that's how we tend to look at behavior change. I'd actually start looking at what's preventing the behavior you want, as opposed to kind of going, well, it's got to trade reward and provide this new digital channel and all that. Actually step back and kind of go, what systems and people and policies are in place that actually are preventing the behavior you want? And I'll give you a great example. I was with one of your competitors, leave the colors out of it, in their digital product teams, and by their leadership had been asked, we need you to start thinking holistically about the customer experience on a suite of financial products and how you can provide a financial solution as opposed to selling a mortgage. Sounds wonderful. You look at their systems, the systems don't talk to each other. So you're telling your frontline staff, behave this way, but you have systems that don't allow them to actually access it. Forget it, you can give me $1 billion bonus if I sell a mortgage. The system won't let me access insurance and systems. Now, what you hear then is people going, well, compliance or regulators don't let us do that. Okay, that's not the employee's fault. That's not their problem. That's a compliance problem. And arguably, if you say it's a regulator issue, I'd say, why are we not working with the regulators to say, why is this policy in place? And insurance, the cross-selling of insurance and banking products is a great example. We can't sell insurance attached to banking products. I, as a customer, want insurance associated to my house. So you've got customers demanding this, and we're hiding behind regulators and compliance as an excuse not to change things. When I was with HSBC in the UK, we actually just went to the regulators and changed regulation. Because also, from a customer experience standpoint, the customer's like, I don't understand what the regulators do. Use your merit, HSBC, to go talk to the regulators and change things. So, as opposed to only looking at the enablers of the behavior you want, start looking at what's actually in place that's preventing it. And I guarantee you'll find stuff there. There's some low-end, easy stuff to start.
Like the chocolate bar in my cabinet, preventing me from losing weight.
Don't put a McDonald's next to your gym.
Exactly.
We've been asked to come in many times to look at, and I don't in any way mean to sound pejorative, and I apologize if it's coming across this way, but diversity issues, empowerment of women, leadership of women. And I think, in theory, nobody is going to publicly say that's a bad thing. Right? And I don't believe that, honestly, most executives, particularly anyone who looks like me, think it's a bad thing consciously. But as Stuart said, there may be enablers on another level, particularly structural, how they've set up their organization, what their compensation plan is, how their leave benefits are, that are simply not, and I'm being careful how I say female-centric. That doesn't mean it's wrong, it's what they've succeeded with. And the other thing is not to say bad, good. So we have to sometimes go back and think about, what is the organizational structure that might enable it not being, quote, female-centric, or might enable it not being open to a different way of thinking. It doesn't mean to judge what you have. It means to look at what's there and maybe going beyond just, let's have a diversity program. Or, I love this one, we've done our cultural competencies, check. That's breathing. That's not a competency. That's breathing. So I think we have to be cautious in how we go about it, but I think we also have to look at what are, not just the other, but the facilitators to keep the status quo.
Well, and I think in light of that, we talk about innovation, and it's always, we think big I innovation, we think massive change. But small I innovation can be just as powerful. We're doing a project right now around diversity of women in a certain segment within RBC. And one of the things we realized is the client engagement model and the peer-to-peer engagement model all involves golf.
Yeah.
So I like playing golf as a woman. However, that's a huge barrier right now in terms of getting women into the role and getting them to be successful in execution of the role, is that everything revolves around golf. And that is such a simple thing to say, okay, then what do we want to change this engagement model with our clients and with each other? What could that look like that would attract more women to the role? It's such a simple thing. Now, simple from a culture perspective, if I was a man in that role and I love playing golf, maybe not so simple. But it is that kind of small I innovation and looking for those discrete opportunities that can drive culture change versus we're going to reorg the department and suddenly more women are going to come to work here. It's really what are some of those discrete opportunities, and we talked a little bit about this yesterday, is where some of the resistance comes from is potentially the big I innovation scope. And so how do you pull back and identify some of those small deltas that you can make along the journey to get earlier wins, more impactful wins, more visible wins, to get the buy-in to do the bigger I innovation along the journey.
And the smaller innovations, the smaller change